What's up, retro gamers? It's Towski, and it's time for a new retro game review. Today we're going to review some pretty bad games. Normally we do good ones, but today we got a trilogy of crap. Now, first up will be Who the hell are you?
I'm the Hulkamaniac, brother, and I haven't heard of a bad wrestling game outside of WCW Backstage Assault.
You want to know bad wrestling games? Scoot your ass over. I'll show you some bad wrestling games. Matter of fact, I'll show you 3 bad wrestling games. You ready for them?
So without any further ado, let's get ready to retro!
Alright, well, first up we have WWF WrestleMania.
This game is from 1988. It's pretty much one of the worst wrestling games ever made. Even for the time, only 6 characters on the game is pretty fucking shitty. Very pixelated graphics. I mean, we are talking 1988 here, but unresponsive controls. Not much you can do. For God's sake, you can't even do a grapple move. You can't body slam them and throw them down. It's only kicks, punches, and the occasional headbutt.
They got power-ups. That's what they come into the ring. Power-ups. You got frickin' guitars for Honky Tonk Man. You got stakes for Andre.
Fireballs for Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yes. God.
Fireballs.
Fireballs, for God's sake. It is the worst freaking game I've ever played.
I'm surprised they didn't have little kid steroids come in the ring for Hulk Hogan.
I know, right? Little Hulk packs. Remember those?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's, oh, I hate this game. Alright, next up we got WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge, made in '92. Major improvement over WrestleMania here and there. You can grapple.
You got a 10-person roster, which for when it came out is pretty much all you can ask for.
Especially on the NES.
But when it comes to actual hit detection and the responsiveness of the controls is where it takes a downhill turn. Even the finish of the moves, you see them pick them up for a body slam, and when they slam them down, their head somehow pops up the opposite way of which they were slammed. And you figure it's a game based on the steel cage match, it could at least be true to that. If somebody climbs the cage, the match ends when they reach the top of the cage. They stand at the top of the cage like the Statue of Liberty and hold their hands up, and that's the end of the match.
Yeah. Not really great, but a far better improvement over WrestleMania, I swear. The roster's decent, perfect for around that time.
Not much differentiating how the characters look, though. The Mountie looks exactly like Bret Hart.
It was pretty hard. It was a pretty hard game. Usually, you would have to tap, tap, tap that controller button. That's why they made the turbo controller. But, oh man, that game was horrible. And then, the following year, King of the Ring. Right to your NES console.
In 1993, it was pretty apropos because that's when the steroid investigation happened with the World Wrestling Federation, and it seems like it carried over into this game because Bret Hart and Lex Luger have the same exact height and muscle tone. Every character looks like a Jakks Pacific sweating action figure, except for Yokozuna, who's got a bit of a belly.
Accurate for him, but the beefed up wrestlers, the mechanics carrying over from Steel Cage Challenge, honestly, it's not a better improvement, but graphically it's a lot better. But this is, mind you, this is the time that the NES was winding out and pretty much the final year for it. So you didn't expect great quality, and at that time WWF had the Royal Rumbles and the Super WrestleMania game, all these other great ones besides what you had on the NES.
You see, you notice we're not too pumped up while we're sitting here talking about this. The morale's kind of low, which is basically all because of the fact that we're sitting here talking about arguably the 3 worst wrestling games ever made, barring, as mentioned earlier, WCW Backstage Assault.
We decided to dig back and go into time when we were kids, big wrestling fans, horrible games. Alright, in closing, we normally don't do bad game reviews for you, our friends, the retro gamers, but we wanted to bring it to your attention.
Just to make sure you never get suckered into playing one of these games.
Yeah, don't ever play any of these games. It's not worth. You find it at a flea market, pass it up. Get Mega Man or something.
Even for 25 cents, it's not a good buy.
It's not worth it. Anyway, for the Retro Game Zone, I'm Towski. This is the Newman. We'll catch you later.